Hi, it's Josh here at BizCrew. Today we have Leanne, the CEO and founder of ebate. And today Leanne's going to reveal how their revolutionary tech is helping companies manage complex rebate programs. So ebate has been proven to eliminate the manual processing of rebates by up to 60%, whilst identifying an increase in income streams by more than 5%. So thanks for spending the time with us today, Leanne. I hope you're well.
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no problem at all. No problem at all. I mean, it seems like it's something, you've got something exciting here. It seems quite unique in the industry. It seems like there's a lot of pain points in terms of still a lot of manual processing and things. So hopefully we can elaborate on what ebate has done to solve those problems today. But if you want to kick off by just sort of mentioning how what the biggest problems you see when it comes to managing rebate programs, and why do companies still use such manual processing? Because I understand that they do a lot of their work through like Excel sheets, which can become very complex depending on how many different companies they're working with.
Yeah, absolutely. So rebates in themselves, I mean, inherent that they don't sit in within your core systems and your ERPs. So companies offer them as an incentive to their customers to stay with them. So generally, you've got buyers and suppliers negotiating the rebate. So that typically then started to be an offline process around contract management. Those contracts then were passed to finance to go and collect the monies. Now, at one point, rebates, I suppose, were relatively simple in their terms. So a lot of them were volume-based rebates. So the calculations were more straightforward, and as time's gone on and deals have matured, they've become more complex. So there's multifacets now to a rebate, and the issue, I suppose, that we found, or the problem that we're trying to solve, is by managing that on Excel, you've got somebody that is actually negotiating that rebate. You've got then the trading of that rebate and how it's performing, and then you've got the collection or the payment of the monies. And actually, when that process is disjointed, you're starting to create silos in the business, which every time you've got a silo, you've got the ability for revenue to drop through those buckets. So that's the problem we're trying to solve. It's really to make that an end-to-end process that's seamless and obviously more timely as well.
Mm-hmm. So it's because companies are perhaps working with different companies, different tiers, different pricing structures based on volume, that it can become, because I think you mentioned before when we spoke earlier that there can be instances where incorrect transactions are made because the tiers haven't been implemented correctly.
It's all sorts of things, really. I mean, I think it's data, and it's just, Excel and things like that is inherent with human error, no matter how good we think it is. So a couple of things really that lead to those errors. So sometimes commercial deals are agreed by the commercial teams, and then they never go anywhere. They're not passed to somebody else for collection. So that's one part where it'll fall down. In terms of then like putting some of these complex agreements into Excel, you've got the human keying error of formulas, etc. Typically, you'll find that an Excel workbook to manage all of this process around rebates has been created by a single individual. So you've got risk in there of human error. You've got the single point of failures quite often within that resource. So all of that just amounts to quite a big issue for organizations. And we're talking about multiple millions of pounds that are being measured on Excel. Again, there's no audit on Excel. So if I'm going in from a commercial perspective, changing a rate of a deal, well, it's not approved, who's agreed it. So there's no audit trail of that. So the biggest things for me are the latency of data, the errors in the data, and then obviously that risk and compliance factor part of it as well.
It's like accountants back in the day using Excel, but now switching over to like QuickBooks or something. There's obviously like a big difference in what software is capable of doing and the reporting and everything, and obviously reducing errors, obviously.
Absolutely, and it's part of that digital transformation. So you look back at finance. When I became an accountant back in the late 80s, early 90s, it was all red ledger books still. Then we moved into technology, mainframe technology, and now it's ERP. So we're actually now, whereas as finance used to be backwards looking and looking at the results, and we may be like a month out of date from where we actually were, it's now about looking forward, and it's really about that transformation, becoming the business partner to your business and enabling them to grow revenues. And that way is where rebates really comes into its own, because they're incentive programs to get loyalty between the customers and the suppliers. And how do you do that? So it really is a true relationship that you're trying to increase revenues, not erode price by giving rebates away that you don't actually understand how they're affecting price.
Okay, so how does ebate actually work? How does it actually solve the problem for the client, and what sort of transformation will they see when they implement the technology? Because I think it also integrates with other programs they might be using. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, in essence, what eBate does, so at the beginning of it, it creates that physical contract. So that's taking data from your existing systems, so around your products, your customers, any geographical information that you may have. So we consume all of that data in. You build up that agreement, and it's based on rules. So in principle, you've got a calculation, and that calculation is the maths. And then against that maths, you've then got, well, here's the maths. Now, what levers am I going to pull? So, for instance, I could say, well, it's a tiered rebate retrospective based on reaching these volumes. And each volume I hit, the rebate level goes up. However, then there's the business rules associated with that. So, it's only if it's this product, if it's this geography, if it's sold when the sun's shining. So you can put a lot of complexity around the actual criteria itself. That then is what makes the complexity. We then publish that agreement up so that it can be signed electronically. It can go through a whole workflow and approval process. And then we're all bought into what we're agreeing. Whereas previously, it was agreed between the commercial teams. Finance probably weren't even involved and didn't know even whether it was a good deal or not until after the event, too late. So this ensures that everyone's on the same page. We're then consuming those transactions from your system as and when they're occurring, your sales or your purchases, and that's calculating against those agreements in real time. Once that happens, obviously, then you've got the reporting and the analytics side of that. So it's real time. So if you're a buyer and you've got incentives or rebates available to you, clearly you need to see how are they performing immediately, to help you make informed buying decisions to really leverage some of the benefits of those rebates that you're being offered. So it comes into, we've got all that great data. How are we using it to really analyze and really make a difference to our business? And that's where the business partnership between finance then and the commercial teams really does come into play.
Yeah, because you mentioned that. I mean, there's case studies, examples, and things of companies using ebate where they have managed to obviously increase their income streams by up to 5%. And how are they able to do that using the technology? Because obviously reviewing their analytics and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two things really. So one is that it's all in the system. So you've got a single source of the truth. So you're not missing an opportunity. So, back to that, I could have negotiated with you, but forget to pass it to finance. Nobody's ever claiming the rebate. So that's one area. The other is the errors in Excel. So those errors are leading to missed revenue opportunities, and having the accessibility to that data in near to real time, enabling you to make the decisions to push you up to those rebate tiers, again, is increasing revenues. So typically, I would say, in terms of Excel spreadsheets, we on average see an error rate of 4 to 5% in them. And in terms of making better decisions and improving purchasing, then we're probably talking 3 to 4% error rate. But if your rebate value overall is, even if it's 2 million, 3 to 4% of 2 million is quite a significant chunk of money.
Yeah, for sure. And what I always like to ask is, like, what made you come up with starting ebate? What made you think that you were going to come in and solve this problem? Obviously, I'm guessing you have got quite a bit of experience with rebates.
Yeah, absolutely. So previously, I had run a company, and so we built bespoke software solutions for companies, and we were being asked time and time again to build bespoke rebate management solutions. So that led me to believe that there wasn't something on the market that was really scalable, industry agnostic, and integrated well with ERP. So whilst there are competitors on the marketplace, they were at the time quite niche into what they were doing. So that's really, it was that having that foresight that really made me think, let's build something here as a SaaS solution that we could bolt in. The vision was always then to stay agnostic to an ERP. So whilst we may partner with ERP vendors, it really is that we didn't want to be just tied to one, and really offer that flexibility. So through our experience of building those bespoke solutions, we really understood how different sectors, the process is fundamentally the same regardless of the sector. Terminology is different across sector, and it really was making a product that was highly configurable to meet all of those different demands and needs. And that's where we came from. So in 2018, then we started that journey of building a SaaS solution, and here we are today. So
it's been about 3 years, and obviously you've got some, well-established companies listed on the website that have been working with ebate. Just out of interest, how large does a rebate program need to be in order to see results with ebate? Because obviously there's companies that will be on a very small scale. There's companies that will be considering adding a rebate program.
I think really it's the value that you see on rebates. So I would say any size. I mean, there's a couple of things that it does. One, it sort of like governs you to the offers that you could give as a business, to really ensure that you're protecting margin as well. So I would say any size, and we price accordingly. So we've got a standard edition, a professional edition, and an enterprise edition. So in reality, it's affordable to all sizes. I would say that what drives you to go and look for a system is if you've got a high number of agreements, but they could still be low volume, or you've got a lot of complexity, or it's high value but low volume. So there'll be something that makes you think, I could do this better off of Excel. So generally when companies are starting out, they use Excel. What I would say though is for those that are starting out, invest in a platform, because what it does do is starts to deliver you best practices. And by working across multiple sectors, you know what you know in your industry, and industries tend to work very much the same, but actually you're not aware of what's available to you outside of your industry. So I think by working with an organization like ourselves, you are starting to encompass best practices, and I think our expertise that comes from multiple sectors actually can feed into just new ideas for growing companies. So even some of our early stage customers, when we talk to them about how the product's moving, what we're doing, what the product roadmap is, it's some of that functionality they would never have thought about, but it's always about how can it help them and extend their business. So our ethos is, yes, the ebate is a piece of technology, but it's really about understanding the business, the people, where do they operate, how do they operate, what is their business process, what's their business strategy, why are they using rebate programs, how does it fit in terms of trying to drive revenues into their business. So understanding that enables us then to put the tool there as an enabler. And if you go technology first, so I'd say we're not a technology first organization. It is about people, it's about process, and then the technology underlines it and supports it. And that I think is what makes us very different.
So you consult with them a lot more than just a SaaS based or a technology business. Would you try and find solutions for some of their key pain points that they might be struggling with, and how ebate could potentially help them with that?
Absolutely, because when you're moving from say an Excel solution, so Excel would be our biggest competitor. If you're moving from Excel into something else, you don't know the art of the possible. So yes, we could just like say, there's your wizard, go and download it, try it for free. But it actually doesn't resonate with somebody that's working in Excel today. So they'll try and replicate that Excel process into ebate, and that isn't the most effective way of working. And an example of that is one of our clients. They had 350 deals, and so they were maintaining 350 Excel sheets for these deals. But we consolidated that down to 15 group deals. Now, when you look at the technology and how you can segment the deal, then it's far easier to do it. So we went from 330 down to 15 group deals. So that's a significant reduction in administration straight away. But if they would have replicated it directly.
Yeah, I think for some companies it can be daunting to make that kind of technology switch. When they're accustomed to certain processes that they've developed inside the business. I mean, I know we've been guilty of probably using processes that could be revolutionized, like project management software and stuff, instead of using Google Sheets. And I guess it's the same type of thing. You can get so much more productivity and so much more insight into your business performance by updating your technology. But for some, it just takes a little bit of consideration, a bit of consultation, and enabling them to understand the possibilities with those changes. And I think ebate have obviously got some great case studies. So how do you see rebates changing in the future? Obviously, you've got the technology side of things. And how is ebate going to, has ebate got plans to sort of revolutionize other areas of the process?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and for me, it comes into again using that data. So I think over a period of time, it's about using AI and the analytics to really understand how rebates are performing, and it really even across sectors. So normalizing that data and really analyzing the programs that are working well, the programs that are really driving customer behavior, etc., so that you're targeting the right rebates at the right people at the right product. And that for me is where the world's going. So what I do see is that we'll be doing more data analytics using AI capability in the future.
Okay, interesting. AI it's transforming a lot of things. Like for us, we're looking at certain copywriting and things that AI is producing. It's obviously going to be very, very powerful, but potentially scary in the future, depending on how it's used, obviously.
Exactly, and it is. And again, with some of our customers, you're coming from Excel and you're starting to talk about, digital transformation. Here's some great technology. There's a fear there. There's a fear of, oh my God, how much time is this going to take me? So we have to make it implementation as minimal impact on the client as possible. Really use them and help them. Give some really good quality training out to them, and it really is about that customer journey and how they're feeling. And that for me is really, really critical as well, because it's a big shift for a lot of people, and they are scared quite often, and even in large companies, you'd be surprised their ability to understand technology and really drive it forward in the organizations is still limited in some, and so they want that hand holding, and it's about that really true collaborative partnership, and that's what's going to drive the value ultimately. And then introducing things gradually, so as we go along, not thinking that the whole tool set is fit for everybody, but gradually as they get used to one, they start to see value, introduce a little more value, and it's about continually expanding and growing that accounting partnership with each other.
Mm-hmm. So there is like a thorough onboarding process, and obviously you said that there's training on how the technology works and everything. So they will have peace of mind that the staff will get. Is there like a time frame that normally the client is sufficient with utilizing the technology by themselves?
Yeah, I mean, normally, like as soon as they've got into production, so we'll do the onboarding. It's very, very quick. Obviously, they provide us with the data. We'll onboard, sit down with them, build a couple of scenarios out, and then generally they're self-sufficient. We then give them a month's intensive support, so they have their account manager on call that they can basically ring at any time, and then after that they're generally self-sufficient. That comes from having things in the tool like how to guides, there's training guides in there, etc. And all the time as well, we're improving the tool and the technology through the whole user experience, through in-app guidance, etc. as well. So
I mean, that's always like important for me when I'm using a new technology. I need to have that support if something happens, because
yeah,
you'll be in the middle of a task and then like you feel like your whole day is almost stopped unless this task has been resolved.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
and,
having
and
that almost instant support is going to be so valuable to a lot of companies, I think, because with us sometimes we'll be using a software provider and you might not hear back from them for 24 hours, and if you've got something very important that you need to be doing, then you want that support as soon as possible, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a myth, isn't there, with SaaS solutions, particularly that, SaaS means just download it and start using it straight away. And yes, we all know that that is possible. But, even if you like look at, your Salesforces, your HubSpots, etc. Yes, we can download, we can put our credit down card details in, and we've got HubSpot. But do we know how to use it effectively? Probably not. Do we end up then needing features from each of the different categories? We don't even know what features are available to us, how to configure them best for our business and our processes. And then by the time you finish, you end up moving to an enterprise level, having lots of consultancy in, etc., etc. So whilst in some cases that low level, like install it and do it all yourself, is obviously valuable to some customers. For the majority of the customers that we're working for in that B2B enterprise space, they need more than that. It is like really helping them understand the process, what they do today, what they could do tomorrow, what the art of the possible is, and really helping them on board, as opposed to just go click the button, follow the wizard, and then you're off to, ready to go. Because we all know that once you can do that in software, we get to a point where we're like, hang on a minute, I don't understand it. I don't know how this can work for me, or I don't understand really what bit of this I should be using. So, and that happens, doesn't it?
So you stop using some of the major tools that could help you because there's just a little bit of a learning curve that you haven't got past. But yeah, I think obviously, you know, you're going to be aware of what those potential challenges are with eBay, and obviously you've got the support and everything in there to help your clients overcome any issues that they might experience. So how can people learn about eBay, Leanne? If someone's watching this video and they're doing everything on Excel and they know that they could improve their processes, what typically happens if someone wants to work with eBay?
So I say, you know, go on the website and book a discovery call with us. So, you know, during that discovery call, we'll understand you, what your requirements are, what the business is doing today. And it really is about learning about you. Once we've understood about you, we can then actually point you in the right direction as to how eBay can help you, and obviously the return investment that it can give for your business. So I would pop on the website, which is www.e-bate.io, and just hit on free discovery call. Alternatively, make connection with myself on LinkedIn. Send me a message and I'll, you know, feel free and I'll get back in touch with you. But yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of information on the website as well. Lots of resources around ebooks and things that you can go in and download, which will just help you if you're at the beginning of your journey and you're thinking about it. There are a lot of resources on there.
Okay, awesome. Well, I hope if anyone's watching this that is struggling with their rebate, then hopefully they'll reach out and you can give them an introduction into how the software works and give them a better understanding of how it might be able to sort of transform that process and help them ultimately save a lot of time, because there's two things we want in business. We want to save time and we want to save money. And obviously it seems like people that are managing rebates using Excel could certainly do that with eBay. So
absolutely, and that's the fundamental things of it. It's improving process efficiencies at the lowest level, so improving time and productivity, and then increasing revenues. They're the two main things that it does.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time today, Leanne. Have a great day. I'll put your details in the description. If anyone wants to reach out, please do that. And you can find out more about the team over at eBay. But I appreciate your time today. Oh, she's gone.
Hi there.
She's back again.
It must be my side then. I don't know.
Yeah.
Unusual.
Technology, eh?
Brilliant.
But yeah, like I said, you know, if anyone wants to reach out, I'll put the details in the description and put your LinkedIn profile. I'll put the link to the website and everything. And yeah, thanks again for joining the call.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much, Josh.